Can gaming be therapy? Now, before we begin, this article contains trigger points about suicide and depression, so viewer discretion is advised. If you need to talk to someone and you're located in Australia, a list of organisations that can help will be in the video description below. Remember, help is available and you matter. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week, so I wanted to update the very first article I wrote for What's It Like and the journey I've been on since writing it. I know, I hate saying journey as it's such a trope these days, but to be honest, it's been a hell of a ride. One of the biggest issues we face in the mental health field is the stigma that we perceive is attached to admitting we may have a problem. So I decided that it's high time that I touched up this story and I shared to you guys what happened after my mates and I established an unofficial therapy gaming session. Let's start right at the beginning, in the golden years. The year is 1998 and it's a rainy Friday night. Your friends are over, pizza's been ordered, and Blockbuster had 2 extra Nintendo 64 controls for hire, so it's going to be amazing. Firing up GoldenEye while you take a bite of your ham and cheese pizza, you hope that things will always be like this. But unfortunately, things change and life happens. And somewhere along the way, jobs and partners come along and life just gets busy in general. During the 360 and GameCube era, you still have regular sessions and you caught up when you could, but now with kids and careers, catching up becomes an exercise in scheduling, rescheduling, and sometimes just hoping for the best. While everyone faces challenges and experiences hardships in different ways, I didn't think I really had a problem until I was really in deep. I have post-traumatic stress and depression, and as Sebastian Junger, a journalist who toured Afghanistan in the height of the war on terror, once said, "Post-traumatic stress, from an evolutionary perspective, is exactly the response you want to have when your life is in danger. You want to be vigilant. You want to react to strange noises. You want to sleep lightly and wake easily. You want to have flashbacks that remind you of the danger, and you want to be, by turns, anxious and depressed. Anxiety keeps you ready to fight, and depression keeps you from being too active and putting yourself at greater risk. This is a universal human adaptation to danger that is common to other mammals as well. It may be unpleasant, but it's preferable to getting eaten." And I didn't realize at the time just how accurate that statement would be. And over time, I began isolating myself from my friends and staying inside. No more monthly D&D catch-ups, no going to the movies, and no real gaming. I felt most at ease when I was by myself or there weren't too many people around, and I spent my days doom scrolling social media or just zoning out and watching Netflix. My wife, who'd been amazing throughout this journey, gently encouraged me to get outside and maybe get a coffee or go for a walk. And I think in hindsight, she knew what I was going through before I did. But I was still resistant to change, and when we travelled, I kept to myself and stayed in places I knew I was safe. On the outside, I was still the Sarge, the stoic and dependable guy who could still solve problems, but on the inside, I had become anxious, insecure, and unsure of everything. It seemed nothing could stop me sliding further into the big sad, as I called it, until one day a message popped up asking if we were all free to play some games with the boys. In our group chats, one of our friends suggested we hit up Overwatch 2, and by some miracle, the stars aligned and we all managed to jump on, including one Lone Ranger who really doesn't game anymore these days. We all cheered and whooped, and for a minute I was back in front of that CRT TV, surrounded by my friends, and we started talking about catching up. What a time to be alive. We were playing cross-platform on Xbox, PlayStation, and the Switch, and we all communicated via the built-in voice chat from our own platform of choice. While this all sounds rather standard, we eventually got to talking about where we are in life and where we thought we would be. And despite our usual banter of giving each other a bit of shit, it turned out to be a much more wholesome and supportive chat, with us encouraging each other of our latest achievements and talking about things that weren't going so well. And in the absence of actual counselling, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders as I talked about the stresses of work and life, and the boys just simply lent their ears while we fumbled around on maps of Overwatch and took turns sharing some of our stories and experiences. I was surprised to hear about the challenges they were going through as well. And suddenly, I just didn't feel so alone. Since that night, our catch-ups have become more frequent, and we all seem to be able to find the time to come together for our therapy sessions. Our wives and partners actively encourage it, and gaming has become something that not only entertains, but heals. We still have the banter, of course, but we also talk about things that we may not be so comfortable about talking with anyone else. I think it also helped us men ask for help, and sometimes I'll see a message pop up saying, hey, I could do with a gaming session this week, and we all know that it's time to update our games and get ready for a good night of catching up, talking things out, and hopefully winning a few matches as well. Now this is where the original article ended, but I thought I'd tell you what happened next. Those weekly therapy sessions were a godsend, and they helped me realize that it was okay to seek help. I decided I was comfortable with taking another step towards improving my mental health, and I arranged a bulk bill counselling plan via Beyond Blue, an organisation here in Australia. The process itself was a simple one, but I would be lying if I said I was feeling great about it at all. It was quite the opposite, and I still felt like I'd failed the people that I used to help. But I knew that I didn't want to hit the bottom of the big sad again. While registering for this new program felt like a bit of defeat at the time, the actual process of speaking to my counsellor was quite the opposite. And I was matched with someone who had a military background, and I immediately felt at ease, almost like I was talking to a long-lost mate. We swapped some war stories and we hashed out a plan, and we did our weekly sessions via the Beyond Blue New Access program. Each week was a work in progress, and my counsellor would give me an alternative perspective on things and encourage me to chase a dream of restarting What's It Like. Spoiler alert, here we are. Did it work? In my opinion, the best way to look at counselling isn't that it's a band-aid to instantly fix things. Instead of instantly curing my issues, it gave me the tools to be more mentally resilient and aware. So like everyone, I still sometimes have my bad days, and I know that these bad days will pass, and I'll get back on the horse and I'll keep moving forward. Most importantly, I learned to be a bit kinder to myself, and to recognise that sometimes you just need a moment to collect yourself before you get back up again. But if you feel you need a bit of a hand to pick yourself up out of the dirt, I can assure you, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Sometimes, all you need to do to kick off your mental health journey is have a controller and some mates. Thank you for listening to my story. I really appreciate it. And I just want to reiterate that if you're in Australia and you need to talk to someone, that there is Beyond Blue, Lifeline, Sane, and the Black Dog Institute, and I have links to all of them in the description of this video. Whatever you do today, be kind to yourself. Thanks for watching. Thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. The best way you can support me is to like and subscribe and continue watching my content if you enjoy it. But if you do want to go that bit extra, you can buy me a coffee or join our Patreon, which shows you behind the scenes of this channel. Thanks again.